Let's talk about what the telehealth session looks like start to finish. It's a little bit different, not a lot, it's very doable, but I'm just gonna kind of review my process, and then Travis has created a document that you can just use as sort of a template for how you wanna set yourself up. The better prepared you are, the tighter your system is, the more relaxed you are. Okay, so we start our session. If it's a brand new client, the first session, you need to verify everything. Check their name, date of birth, make sure you have the spelling correct, make sure you have their phone number, make sure you have their emergency contact, get their location. So if they say they're home, verify their address. I'm home. Okay, so you're at home on Main Street? Yes, okay. And what room are you in? Oh, you're in the bedroom, okay. Make sure you know where their nearest hospital is. Very rare that we need it, but if you need it, you'll be glad you have it. If you are taking insurance, best practice is you see a photo ID so that you know that you are seeing the person who actually has that insurance policy. It might seem over the top. You should do it anyway. So you're going to double check every single time. Location and privacy. So where are you? I'm at home. Okay, where at your home? I'm in the kitchen. Good. Do you have privacy? Well, my roommate's coming home in about 10 minutes. All right, is there someplace else you can go? Like, even if we think it's, of course, you're going to have privacy, our client doesn't necessarily think that. That's part of our job, is to remind them what they need to do. I always ask, and often it's a good thing I did, have you closed all of the other programs that you have had running on your computer or on your phone? Have you closed everything down? And people say, oh, look at that, Netflix is still going. Okay, and they'll close that. And then double check, can you see me and hear me okay? And then have them give you sort of the sound check, and then make sure you can see and hear them. A lot of times people say, I can't hear you, and they have turned their speakers down. So make sure that they've turned their speakers down. You want to make sure that they're on the correct browser, all of that. Get their camera at eye level, help them set up. I always recommend that people use earbuds, even if I'm not using earbuds. It gives them more privacy for what I'm saying. So even if there's sort of a rumbling overheard in another room, it's not going to be what the therapist is saying. And that way, if somebody walks in just as we're delving into something sensitive, it's a little bit more protected. This is a new one, and this startled and creeped me out so much. I was working with a client, and all of a sudden his Alexa started chiming in. So now I say to people, I really recommend, if you have an Alexa or a Siri kind of situation going, remove it or turn it off. So this is also, I did not expect to have to do this, but when I did another presentation a couple months back, one of the questions was, what do you do if the client needs to go to the bathroom and they take you with them? So I have now started saying, so if you need to take a break, if you need to go get a glass of water, or you need to attend to something, or you need to go to the bathroom, leave me where I am, and I will wait for you here. I didn't think I would have to say that, but apparently that's something I have to do, and we should all do. And clients that laugh wouldn't have done it, and clients that don't laugh, you absolutely would have been going to the bathroom with them. So that's important to say. When you see a client face-to-face in your office, you are never standing this close, ever. You'd be in their bubble. So I can do this and stare at the camera, and it's creepy and it doesn't feel good. It's too much. So soften your gaze. I'm just looking generally at this. I want to be able to see the whole client, the whole face, the body that I can see. Don't stare. You'll end up with dry eyes and a scared client. Okay, so beyond these basic telehealth things, you're just going to do the session the way you would do it in your office. First and foremost, you are the same therapist you were in February. Maybe you're better, right? But you are not different because you're delivering in a different way. You are the same therapist you are when you're face-to-face. If you do interventions that might need to be modified, you just think ahead about that. Okay, that's something that you can, and maybe network with other people, other colleagues who do similar work, and just kind of think about it, like, how could I modify this in a way that would work online? Queue up your screen share, like I said, so that you know how to use it and so that it's ready and you don't have to go searching for it. Again, I recommend closing your calendar window just in case you click the wrong screen share. As a minimum, put it on privacy. If you're taking notes, the first session, I like to use a clipboard just because it's handy. So I want you just to see, I've got it on my lap and I can write while I'm looking, but there's some motion that's being seen here. So I always tell people, because if they're in my office, they can see that I'm taking notes, but I always tell people, like, I want to show you, I've got a clipboard, I'm just going to take a few notes to keep us on track. You only have to do it the first time, then they'll know. Sometimes because they're sitting at their desk, clients kind of fidget. And so if I had a client who was really just like doing something I couldn't see. And finally I was so distracted. I said, I'm so sorry, let me stop you for a moment. What are you doing? And he held up, he had Play-Doh, because when he gets nervous, it helps him to play with Play-Doh. Okay, that's great. But if you find yourself distracted, just go ahead and ask, find out, and make sure that you tell them what you're doing. And at the end, it's good to have sort of a closing script. And we all kind of have that from in office, right? But for me, my closing script is, I sort of summarize the session, give the homework that I want them to do. I always give homework for all sessions. We set the next appointment, and then I give some post-session guidance. So the post-session guidance, if a client leaves my office, they get in their car and they drive back home or drive back to work or whatnot, they have like 10 minutes to kind of just sift out. Well, with telehealth, they walk out their bedroom door, and roommates, kids, work, spouses, whatever, pets are all there. They don't have a time to transition. So just, assisting our client, giving some guidance on sort of re-entering everyday life. Okay, you've been online for an hour. We've been talking about this stuff. I know that you have to jump right back into regular life, but I really recommend that you step outside, walk around a little bit, get some fresh air, and let yourself have some transition time. So that's important to do. So have your own closing script. You have it for your in-office, but make sure you're adding in the important parts for telehealth. Okay, so you finish up, you do your notes, you prep for your next session, and you're good. After your session, close your telehealth window, close your browser, restart your computer. And I always say it's a very good idea to just walk away from your desk for a minute, or a few. If you can go outside, walk around the block, that's great. Even if you just walk around your office, just get some movement. So documentation, we always document where our client is. We verify their information if they're new. We note that they have verified their privacy, and also note any interruptions to privacy. So I had a new client last week, and she was just starting to talk about her frustration with her husband, and in he walked. And it was really funny. I mean, in retrospect, I saw him walk in, and he looked, and he waved. Okay, I'm going to note that. And then when we finished, I put a star next to it. I came back and said, look, you're not going to be able to comfortably talk about stuff if your husband's going to come walking in. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll talk to him about it. Yeah, okay, what else could you do, right? And then if you see over the course of 3 or 4 sessions in your notes that privacy has been interrupted over and over again, then you have to get pretty firm about it and bring it up. So basically your notes are going to be whatever they would be otherwise. And if there's anything that you want to follow up with on tech, if you need to remind them to switch over to cell data or anything like that, then you can do that. Just make a note of it so that you can do that. If there's anything about telehealth that makes it challenging for the client, make sure that you document that. Otherwise, just like a regular session in your office.